Hello, hello! What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and as hopefully most of you know by now, I have been reviewing and watching, mostly for the very first time, Gene Wilder movies. And I have reached the point where I have watched The Frisco Kid. This is a 1979 film that was directed by Robert Aldridge. And the plot of the movie is we meet Gene Wilder, who plays the rabbi, Rabbi Avram Belinsky, and he's come straight from Poland to America in Philadelphia. And he has to get to San Francisco. And he has to do this because, well, he's going to be the rabbi for this congregation over there. But also, he is promised to marry one of the daughters over there. So, as he's trying to do this, he's having some of the worst luck ever. Like, nothing is going, like, people are screwing him over left and right. And it's just bad luck until he comes across and meets Harrison Ford, who plays Tommy Lillard. And Harrison Ford, at first, seems like, I guess, a good guy. A guy who's willing to help him out and send him to San Francisco, help him get there. But he's also a bank robber. And so clearly he might not be the best guy to pal around with. Now, what I thought of The Frisco Kid was all of these Gene Wilder movies that I have been watching. And again, all of them for the very first time. I've grown to really appreciate and respect Gene Wilder as an actor, as a leading man, a guy who I didn't even realize has starred in all of these movies in the 70s and 80s, 60s. I mean, this guy has been around for a long time. It sucks that he had to die for me to finally take notice and watch all of these movies. But I liked all of those movies that I had watched. Even if some more than others, I still enjoyed a lot of these movies. Besides this one, I did not enjoy The Frisco Kid, and I didn't hate it. I wasn't sitting there mad or this isn't going to be a rant. I just wasn't really engaged by this movie. I think there's more flaws than good, but there are some goods. I want to talk about Gene Wilder as this rabbi character because I think Gene Wilder is a great actor. I've seen him play so many different types of roles over the years of these movies. Like, he really is able to change from movie to movie, and I appreciate that. I respect that. But this rabbi character, he's good as the role. He does what he's supposed to do and has to do to really make this character feel real and whatnot. But I guess more the issue that I have instead of the character or the acting is the tone of this movie. I was sitting there so confused by, is this a comedy or is this like a real action western, like with serious stuff in it? Now, you could argue that it could be both. Why not? Why can't an action western movie have some comedy in it? Sure, you can have a western or an action movie that has comedic moments or funny moments to make it fun and entertaining. But there's moments in here where Gene Wilder's character is very over the top, very goofy. And I just mean goofy to where it's like slapstick. And I thought it was too goofy to match some of the stuff that I was watching. At the beginning, you see him trying to basically hitch a ride, and the guys screw him over, beat him up, toss him out, take his money, and leave him out there stranded. And I'm like, well, that's really, really messed up. Like, I felt really bad. But then there's just several jokes where it's like, oh, well, I guess the movie doesn't want me to feel bad. It wants me to laugh. Even though I just witnessed this really bad thing happening. And throughout the movie, there's bad things happening, but it's almost the movie wants you to laugh with it rather than anything else. If you tell me the plot, if you tell me that it's this rabbi guy who needs to go to San Francisco and he partners up with Harrison Ford and he's a bank robber, so it's two complete opposites and they're forced to almost be together, it's like, yeah, that could be fun. But I never quite understood why Harrison Ford's character stuck with this guy. I never really once understood why it's like, okay, he wanted to help him, I guess, because he's a criminal, but he has some good in him. He does have a heart. I guess he doesn't want to see this guy either die or wind up in the wrong part of the world, so he decides to help him. I just did not buy that he would have stuck with him as long as he did. There are moments where they're arguing with each other, disagreeing, like never seeing eye to eye, and Harrison Ford kind of talks himself into sticking with him for longer, and like, I guess it was trying to be funny, but I couldn't really understand it. I couldn't really get with it. I'm not saying I never laughed. There were a couple of moments, especially with the two of them, Gene Wilder, Harrison Ford, interacting with each other and being completely opposite. I did have some moments of laughing, but I guess not enough. I will say that I really liked Harrison Ford as this character because I was not expecting him to be a robber, like the scene when they're on the train. And first Gene Wilder's sitting there, and this pretty hot, attractive woman comes up and sits next to him. Her boobs are all hanging out, and she's like overly smiling at him and being flirty. And he's just like being weird and not wanting anything to do with her. And then he finally gets up and goes to the bathroom. And I'm sitting there like, dude, take advantage of this. Now, sure, this was before I found out that he was actually he was promised a wife already, so I guess he's not thinking about that, not wanting that. But still, I don't know. I probably would have, especially with that chick. But it was on that train where we meet Harrison Ford. He puts the bandana over his face and he robs everybody on the train. And that took me by surprise. I said, oh, okay, this is the type of guy we're dealing with. But once I realized he was that type of guy, and then he helps Gene Wilder, again, I didn't buy it, but fine. You do get to a point where Harrison Ford kind of sort of forces Gene Wilder to help him rob a bank. And so they have all this money. You could argue that maybe that's why he stuck around with Gene Wilder's character, because he needed to use him to rob the bank. But honestly, he didn't need him to rob the bank. He didn't. And they were arguing so much. Gene Wilder's constantly threatening to turn himself in or to give the money back or do this and that. I was waiting for Harrison Ford to just shoot him in the head and say the hell with it and take his half and go. But it never happened. Halfway through the movie and towards the end, I became more and more disinterested, and I wish I liked this movie more. I do. It was cool to see a young Harrison Ford, because he was animated, he was being jokey, and you don't see him in a whole lot of comedic roles, so I appreciated seeing it. There were moments in the movie that there are scenes that I might have liked, but overall, it's definitely my least favorite Gene Wilder movie that I have watched. I'm sorry, because I know some people requested this movie, recommended it, and I'm sure they enjoy the film. I'm sure they love it. But hey, we're all not going to agree on everything. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Frisco Kid? Do you like it? Do you love it? Or do you understand where I'm coming from and why I didn't love it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!